white supremacy, what is? Those are two numbers. That's just one quantitative aspect. But it's a big part of the picture, and it's much deeper than just the police. The police brutality helps keep that order, that discrimination, that inequality in place. Another way you can see what's going on in the city right now, how racism shapes the very urban space we live in. Go down to Ashmont. If you haven't been there before, go take a ride down the train, or down the red line. Get off at Ashmont and look at what you see across the road from the station. New luxury condos going up there. New luxury apartments being built. Go to Dudley. Look at a picture of how Dudley looks now versus 10 years ago. Go look at what's happening at Forest Hills. Huge, huge apartment buildings being built. Not for the people who live there, not for the black folks who live there, not for the oppressed communities who live there, but for wealthy people. And actually, not even for wealthy folks to live in. 65% of luxury apartments and condos in Boston are vacant. They're vacant. The people who used to live in those communities are being displaced to Brockton, to Randolph, to Fall River, to Chelsea, and further away. Then they have to come in hours just to get into the city to work, relying on unreliable public transit, which has been cut every year as the police budget has been increased. And then, when they're late to work, they're fired and they lose their job. Because we know that's another way white supremacy plays out, is that black folks and other oppressed communities are often last hired and first fired. And that's the reality in this country. And in order to change it, we need to do more than just defund the police. I mean, that's a good step. The 3 million or 12 million that Marty Walsh cut, that's a drop in the bucket. That's a drop in the bucket. But that's not even, it's almost an insult. He says, oh, how much do Black Lives Matter to him? $12 million, that's it. 414 million is the police budget. So I'm glad to see that it started, but we've got a long way to go. I want to just say one more thing about how racism has shaped the history of this country. You know, just look around in every major city, we see these big highways. Where were these highways built? They were built through the black communities, almost across the board. That was the Eisenhower highway system. And they facilitated a process of white flight after black folks moved to the urban north, fleeing the racism of the Jim Crow South. And what did they find in the north? They found racist propaganda from the media. They found racism, and they found new forms of segregation. Those myths about the dangers of black men, of unarmed black men, they're linked up to the way the news media talked about black folks who came from the South. They said there were dangerous black men on the street corners, drinking, unemployed, talking to white women. Those were the racist myths that are still being perpetuated today, that still are being used to justify police brutality and violence, that are still being used as ways to justify things like the killing of Trayvon Martin, things like the killing of George Floyd. It's a horrifying reality that we live in. It's a brutal system in this country. But again, moments like this, people coming together here, right now, in Copley, in Boston, in major cities across the U.S. and across the world, those give us hope. Those show us what's possible. Because actually, it's in the interest of the vast, vast majority of humanity to stand up against white supremacy, to stand up against police brutality. Black Lives Matter, the power of the people. Thank you so much, Ryan. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
Our next speaker is Ramoga from Families for Justice and Healing. Ramo? I guess he's not here.